This is Tina Purana. We are excited to mark a new chapter on our channel today through The Health Connection, which isn't just another podcast, but stories that aim to inspire, educate, and guide people towards the good life they deserve. Bringing one such story to the table today are the even remarkable journey of Divyam Singh, a regular corporate guy in India who has achieved his long-standing dream of becoming an Ironman. Welcome to the podcast, Divyam. We are so excited to have you today.
Thank you so much, Tina, for having me today. Really good to be here.
So I have my list of questions ready. I hope you're ready to answer them.
Yeah, absolutely looking forward.
So Divyam, tell us what inspired you to become an Ironman. Was it always the dream that you had looked forward to, or was it during the process of your fitness journey that you realized this dream?
Yeah, so I'll talk about Ironman first in the interest of the audience. So Ironman is a triathlon sport which is comprised of three disciplines. It begins with swimming, followed by cycling, and finally running. And the distances are: swimming is 3.8 kilometers, followed by 180 kilometers cycling, and finally 42.2 kilometers running. And I remember very clearly back in 2015, Mr. Milind Soman, who is a well-known personality, he was 50 years of age back then, and he had completed his full Ironman distance in Zurich, Switzerland. Okay. And when I got to know about it, I was very, very fascinated, and I wanted to understand what this distance meant. And when I realized about the distance that he had covered at such an age, it was absolutely unbelievable for me. Absolutely. And it fascinated me to the extent that I wanted to understand that what did it mean to feel that way. To after completion, a person would have to mobilize his physical strength, mental strength, emotional, and maybe spiritual as well. I don't know. Yeah. So that entire thought of experiencing that experience literally possessed me, and I decided that one day I have to become a full Ironman. That's where it all started.
That's great. He is definitely an inspiration to everyone out there at the age of 50, like you said.
Yes.
So, it was your initials from the beginning only that you had to become an Ironman, or you were always into fitness, that you used to do regular fitness?
Yes. So, before 2015, I was fairly regular, but it was not channelized into a goal. So, I have been fairly regular with sports during my college days. I was participant in the institute basketball team. This was during my graduation days, and I was fairly active during my MBA days as well. And after that, I was mostly into running, and then finally this got channelized into a goal where in a structured manner, I started training for the whole thing.
So what were your steps like? What were the steps that you had taken for this?
Okay, so at a very, very high level, the idea of covering a huge distance like a full Ironman, you have to build up your aerobic base. Right. So aerobic base or aerobic fitness means that how long can you go at a particular pace, and that means your cardiovascular fitness comes into picture, because you are swimming, cycling, and running. So it mostly depends on how strong you are in each of these disciplines, and how long can you do them. Right. So I started with those initial running part mostly. Then I graduated to becoming a cyclist for longer distances, and swimming I was fairly aware of. So the idea was to improve the swimming technique there, and scale it up to the longer distances.
So did you take any professional help, professional guidance that you took, or this was completely by your own?
Right. So before I did my full Ironman, there were a history of 2 half Ironman distances, and the distance is exactly the half of what I mentioned for full Ironman. And for half Ironman, I completely designed my own workout routine. And for full Ironman, I took a help from a coach who sits out of the UK. So the coach designs the entire plan of what I need to execute on a weekly basis, and I execute and follow that up completely. And as far as the nutrition part is concerned, which is very, very important, I have experimented various forms of nutrition on myself, and have arrived at a plan which works brilliantly for me. And for both half Ironman and full Ironman distances, I did it completely on my own.
That's great. So the trainer was sitting back in the UK.
Yes.
Communicating, that was also a challenge in itself.
Yes. So the only form of communication which I had with my coach was through emails, because the membership subscription fee is quite costly. If you are getting a coach from outside the country, and these are all professional coaches. So I knew one thing for myself, that I am disciplined enough that I'll be able to follow through something if somebody tells me to do.
Yeah.
So that was a given, and once I had that, I think it was just a matter of time to stay consistent with the plan and be disciplined enough to carry it through for 6 to 7 months of dedicated training.
Right. So Divyam, I would really want to educate our audience as well कि काफ़ी लोग स्विमिंग कर लेते हैं, साइकिल कर लेते हैं, रनिंग तो हम सब लोग कर ही लेते हैं.
Right.
But we want to make them understand and we want to take this
Right.
guidance from you कि how different it is एक रेगुलर साइकिल करना and एक Ironman
Right.
में ये तीनों एक्टिविटीज करना.
Right.
Also tell us how long each part took.
Right.
कि आपके जितने किलोमीटर्स आपकी साइकिल थी, स्विमिंग
Right.
थी, रनिंग
Right.
थी, तो आप प्लीज थोड़ा बताइए.
Right. So Ironman में एक important चीज़ मैं बताना भूल गया, that there is a cut off time.
हाँ.
So जिस सारा distance है, which is swimming, cycling and running, you have to complete this within a cut off time of 15 or 30 minutes.
15 or 30
Yes,
minutes.
that's the total time. So and there are individual cut off times, यानी कि आप swimming को ऐसा नहीं कि 3 घंटे में किया.
हाँ.
There is a cut off time of 2 or 15 minutes maximum, and then cycling has to be completed between 8 or 30 minutes roughly, and then the entire running leg
And
has to be
उसमें break ले
completed.
सकते हैं?
You can take a break,
हाँ,
but
but आपको total
वो टाइम में ऐड हो
week
जाएगा,
में add
वो सब कुछ ऐड होगा. So the total time is calculated as swimming time plus when you come out of the swimming section, swimming section से cycling तक जाना, that time also gets added. फिर उसके बाद आप भाग रहे हो cycling करने के बाद, and you're coming back and changing into a running gear, वो वाला time भी ऐड होता है. That total is 15 or 30 minutes.
Okay.
So that means ये time का limit इसलिए बनाया गया because to ensure that a minimum threshold or the quality of athletes is met,
Yeah.
and not everybody can complete it.
Correct.
So I remember in my Ironman event, there were a lot of people who could not finish the entire race. So there were 3,000 participants, but roughly 2,600 finished.
Okay.
So इसको complete करने के लिए, that's why you have to start slowly, build the base, which means आपका you can cycle, swim or run for very long hours, and then you start training for speed. Because unless वो base strong है, नहीं है आपका, कि आप long distance तक नहीं कर सकते, you can never go fast. It's very very tough. Or even if you're able to achieve it, you will open up yourself for injuries.
Right. So मतलब पहले everybody should try for long distance. Once that stamina
Yes.
is built, then we
Yes.
can target for
Yes.
speed.
Yes. Because a simple example would be a marathon training.
Correct.
Like in India also, लोग 21 kilometers and 42 kilometer distances cover करते हैं. And if there is a viewer who is a runner, would realize that every half marathoner was initially a 5K runner, and then that person became a 10K runner, and then eventually that person progressed to 21 kilometers. और अगर उसने 42 किलोमीटर किया है, that person would realize कि 21 के बाद ही he can go to 42.
Correct.
And next level is that 42 को और कितनी जल्दी किया जा सकता है. So all the fast marathoners usually have a long distance capacity, कि वो ज़्यादा बहुत slow speed पे काफ़ी time तक भाग सकते हैं. And then they go faster depending on their protocol.
So the idea is to have small goals.
Yes.
Then which leads
Absolutely,
to
absolutely.
the next one.
Yes.
I believe this was an 8 years long journey for
Yes,
you. Since
yes.
you told that you began this in 2015.
Yes.
So in all during these years, you might have also faced a lot of failures.
Yeah.
I hope not, but I'm sure there would be because it's
Yeah.
a long journey. So
Yes.
would you like to tell us about
Yes.
that?
So I did realize that I want to become a Ironman at some point in my life. I wanted to do it sooner. मेरे लिए initially अपने लिए goal था कि by the time I turn 30, I should become a full Ironman.
Okay.
So 2015
And you
to
are right now
a full, I'm 33 right now.
33.
Yes, yes. So 2015 to 2018 is what I classify my golden endurance periods. ये 3 साल ऐसे थे where I focused on being able to swim for longer distances, run and cycle for longer duration and distances. So these 3 years were very much focused that way. Slowly and gradually I built up. Then 2018 to 2020 is a period where difficulty started to creep in. So I remember very clearly that 2019 में जब मैंने अपना first half Ironman complete किया था, there was a brewing depression in my life, and 2020 is when I got clinically depressed. I was diagnosed with that, and what it did to my body was because I was consuming a lot of antidepressants to bring back my focus. It led to a very heavy weight gain, and
That
it
was side effects.
yes. So that medicine had a side effect, and it also disturbed my metabolism. So that means
And the training.
and the training as well. So there was a very low period. I think that 2020 to 2022 was the lowest period in my life, both for my training as well as personally. I remember waking up in the morning and crying for absolutely no reason, and it was a very dark space, and I would not wish that upon any person in my life or whoever I know. And 2022 में when the dependency on the antidepressants became very high, I realized that it's something which is taking over me, and मुझे ऐसे नहीं जीना था. I did not want to become dependent on anything, and that's when I realized that the yoga and the meditation is something which I would want to bring back into my life more dedicatedly. So during my teenage years, I was associated with yoga and meditation. I applied those learnings and started meditating on a daily basis for 15 minutes only. And eventually I was able to replace that antidepressant with meditation, and it started bringing me back into my better mental state. So I coupled this with my physical training again, and then 2022 is when I was back into my triathlon journey.
And there was COVID as well in between.
Yes.
That hampered.
That also hampered, because November 2020 was my second half Ironman, and June 2022 was when I was diagnosed with COVID. So that also disturbed my training part, because
And during the lockdown, like no swimming pools would have.
no. So it was all dry swimming drills. So dry swimming drills means आप घर पर ही you are doing some strength training for your swimming, using a rubber band. And practicing the form and everything. So that's how it progressed. And then COVID in June 2022, then half Ironman 2020, November 2022. And when I did my second half Ironman, it was a very emotional return for my triathlon journey. And June 2023 was my full Ironman, and I was mentally ready that now I want to do it and dedicatedly pursue that goal.
I would really like to understand. हमेशा कहा जाता है कि आप फिटनेस में रहोगे तो आप इन चीज़ों से डिप्रेशन नहीं होगा, नहीं. You were already doing all this stuff, and still, unfortunately, this happened with you. But like you said, yoga and meditation were the two best healers for you. So I would really like to understand more about that. कि हम लोग फिटनेस तो करते हैं, but meditation का क्या impact अभी भी not everybody is aware.
Right. So a lot of people think that yoga and meditation is something very old and archaic, and it's not relevant for modern living. But I think in modern living, when we are living such stressful lives, especially people who belong to our age bracket and who are working so hard in their corporate lives, something to calm their mind down is the need of the day. So meditation how it worked for me was because I was just practicing something called as Anulom Vilom. It's a very simple breathing technique, and it used to calm my mind. Like the thoughts which were running during the time when I was heavily depressed, it used to just bring that thoughts to a very low state, and I would be calm, relaxed, and that feeling eventually grew upon me because that was coupled with my physical fitness. So depression के साथ एक चीज़ ये भी है that it can happen to anybody. And if somebody would ask the other person who is depressed कि ये क्यों हुआ, for the person who has been into that state, it will be very difficult to explain. Even I don't know right now why did that happen to me exactly. So it's tough to answer that question, but certainly a very bad feeling, and it just can't be guaranteed. Even people who are fittest on the planet, like one example I remember is Michael Phelps, who is an Olympian. He also went through a very heavy phase of depression in his life, and I think one standard protocol of every athlete across the world is how to stay focused mentally and how to stay relaxed. So I think for me, meditation was the answer.